Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English is My Life, the podcast where learning English feels natural, relaxed, and part of your everyday life. I'm Haley.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sam. It's great to be back with you today. I hope you're feeling comfortable, relaxed, and ready to listen and learn.
As always, thank you for spending your time with us. Whether you're listening while walking, cooking, relaxing, or commuting, we're really happy you're here.
And before we jump into today's topic, a quick reminder. If you enjoy our conversations, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to English is My Life. Your support helps us keep making more episodes like this.
All right, Sam, let's get into today's topic. This one is very modern, very real, and something almost everyone uses every single day.
That's right. Today, we're talking about using social media and how to talk about it naturally in English.
Social media is everywhere now. People use it to communicate, relax, learn, work, and even build careers.
Exactly. And if you can talk about social media in English, you can join conversations with friends, coworkers, classmates, or even strangers online.
So let's start simple, Sam. Do you use social media?
Yes, I do. I use social media every day, but not all day. How about you?
Same here. I use it daily, but I try not to spend too much time on it. Which social media platforms do you use the most?
I mostly use Instagram and YouTube. I also check Facebook sometimes, but not as much as before.
That's very common. A lot of people don't use Facebook as much anymore. I use Instagram, YouTube, and sometimes TikTok.
TikTok is huge right now. Short videos, fast content, lots of trends.
Yes, and that's a great phrase already, short videos and trends. You'll hear these words a lot when people talk about social media.
So, Haley, when someone asks you, do you use social media, what's a simple way to answer?
You can just say, yes, I do, or yes, I use social media every day. Or if you don't use it much, you can say, I use social media, but not very often.
Exactly. Very simple, very natural. You can also say, I'm active on social media, which means you use it often and post or interact regularly.
Good point. Active is a very useful word here. Sam, would you say you're active on social media?
Not really. I mostly scroll and watch content. I don't post very often.
That's another great phrase. I mostly scroll. Scrolling means moving through posts, photos, or videos without posting yourself.
Yes, I scroll through my feed in the morning or before bed.
Ah, my feed. That's an important word. Your feed is the list of posts, photos, or videos you see when you open an app.
Exactly. People often say things like, I was scrolling through my feed, or my feed is full of travel videos.
So true. Sam, what kind of content do you usually see on your feed?
Mostly tech videos, educational content, podcasts, and sometimes funny clips.
That sounds pretty useful. I see a mix of things: lifestyle content, language learning videos, cooking clips, and sometimes travel photos.
Travel photos are everywhere on social media.
They are, and they can be inspiring, but also a little stressful.
How so?
Well, sometimes when people see perfect photos and perfect lives online, they start comparing themselves to others.
That's very true. Social media can be motivating, but it can also create pressure.
Exactly. And that's another useful phrase: compare yourself to others. Many people say, I try not to compare myself to people on social media.
I say that a lot. I remind myself that social media doesn't show real life all the time.
Yes, people usually share the best moments, not the everyday struggles.
So, Haley, let's talk about posting. Do you post often?
Not really. I post occasionally, maybe once or twice a month.
That's reasonable. You can say, I post occasionally, or I don't post very often.
Exactly. And when I do post, it's usually a photo or a short video.
What about stories? Do you use stories?
Yes, I do. Stories feel more casual and temporary.
Right. Stories disappear after 24 hours, so people feel more relaxed about posting them.
That's why many people say, I prefer posting stories instead of posts.
Prefer, another great verb. I prefer watching videos to reading long posts.
Same here. Videos feel more personal and engaging.
So far, we've talked about using social media, scrolling, posting, feeds, stories, and content.
And we're just getting started. In the next part, we'll talk about why people use social media, how it affects daily life, and how to describe your habits in more detail.
So, Haley, earlier you mentioned that social media can be inspiring, but also stressful. I think that's something many people can relate to.
Definitely. Social media plays a big role in daily life now. So let's talk about why people actually use it.
Good idea. I think the first and most obvious reason is staying connected with people.
Yes, a lot of people use social media to keep in touch with friends and family, especially if they live far away.
Exactly. You can say things like, I use social media to stay in touch with my friends, or it helps me keep up with my family.
Keep up with is such a useful phrase. It means staying updated about someone's life.
Right. For example, I use Instagram to keep up with my friends' lives.
Another big reason people use social media is entertainment.
Absolutely. Watching funny videos, memes, short clips, it's an easy way to relax.
You can say, I use social media to relax after work, or I go on social media when I want to unwind.
Unwind, that means relax after a long day.
Yes. Sam, when do you usually use social media during the day?
Usually in the morning for a few minutes, during breaks at work, and sometimes at night before sleeping.
That sounds very realistic. A lot of people say, I check social media first thing in the morning.
Guilty. Sometimes the first thing I do after waking up is check my phone.
Same here, even though I try not to. You can say, I try not to use my phone too much in the morning, or I'm trying to reduce my screen time.
Screen time. That's another important phrase. It means the amount of time you spend looking at a screen.
Exactly. Many people are more aware of screen time now and want to limit it.
So, Haley, how much time do you think you spend on social media each day?
Honestly, probably 1 to 2 hours total, but it doesn't feel like that.
Yes, time goes by very quickly when you're scrolling.
People often say, I didn't realize how much time I spent on social media.
Or I got carried away and kept scrolling.
Get carried away is a great expression. It means you lose control or forget about time.
That happens a lot with short videos.
It really does. Another reason people use social media is learning.
That's true. Many people follow educational pages, language channels, or news accounts.
You can say, I use social media to learn new things, or I follow accounts that teach useful skills.
I personally follow pages about technology and productivity.
And I follow language learning accounts and creators who share daily English tips.
That's actually a great way to learn naturally, short daily exposure.
Exactly. Now, let's talk about something a little more serious. How does social media affect mood?
That depends. Sometimes it makes me feel motivated, but sometimes it makes me feel tired or overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed. That's an important word. It means feeling like something is too much.
Right, you might say, I feel overwhelmed when I spend too much time on social media.
Or too much information makes me feel overwhelmed.
What about pressure? Social media can create pressure to look perfect or successful.
Yes, many people feel pressure to post good photos or get likes.
You can say, there's a lot of pressure to look good online.
Or, I don't like the pressure of posting on social media.
Likes, that's another key word. Getting likes can feel good, but it can also affect self-esteem.
Self-esteem means how you feel about yourself.
Exactly. Some people say, I try not to care too much about likes or comments.
That's a healthy mindset. Sam, do you care about likes?
Not really. I post for myself, not for likes.
That's a great sentence. I post for myself, not for likes.
Another thing people talk about is privacy.
Yes, privacy is very important. People often say, I'm careful about what I share online.
Or I don't share personal information on social media.
Exactly. You can also say, I keep my account private.
That means only approved people can see your posts.
Right. Now, let's talk about work and social media. Do you think social media is useful for work?
Yes, especially for networking and personal branding.
Networking means connecting with people professionally.
You can say, I use LinkedIn for professional networking.
Or social media helps me build my personal brand.
Personal brand, that's how you present yourself online.
Exactly. Some people use social media as part of their job.
Content creators, marketers, teachers, freelancers.
You can say, I use social media for work, or social media is part of my job.
But for others, it's just for fun.
Right, and both are completely fine.
So far, we've talked about reasons people use social media: staying connected, entertainment, learning, work, and relaxation.
And we've learned many useful phrases like screen time, scrolling, getting carried away, pressure, privacy, and networking.
In the next part, we'll talk more about likes and dislikes related to social media, how to give opinions, and how to describe healthy and unhealthy habits in English.
Yes, we'll also talk about setting boundaries and changing social media habits in English. You know, Sam, something I find really interesting about social media is how it changes the way we communicate. Before social media, if you wanted to talk to someone, you had to call them or meet them in person.
Exactly. Or send a text message, which already felt fast back then. But now, with social media, communication is constant. You can see what your friends are doing all day, even if you don't talk directly.
That's such a good point. Sometimes I feel like I know what my friends ate for breakfast without asking them.
Same here. Someone posts a photo of their coffee, another person shares a workout selfie, and suddenly you know everyone's routine.
And that brings us to a really useful topic for English learners: how to talk about habits on social media. For example, we often say things like, I usually scroll through social media before bed.
Yes, or I check my notifications first thing in the morning. These are very natural sentences.
Let's break that down for our listeners. When you want to talk about habits, you can use words like usually, often, sometimes, rarely, or never.
Right. For example, I usually post photos on the weekend, or I rarely comment on other people's posts.
That's great English, and it sounds very natural. Sam, what do you usually do on social media?
Honestly, I mostly watch videos. I don't post very often. I usually just scroll, like posts, and send funny videos to my friends.
That's very relatable. So you could say, I'm more of a viewer than a poster.
Exactly. That's a great phrase. A viewer is someone who watches or looks, and a poster is someone who uploads content.
I love that distinction. I think a lot of people listening will think, yes, that's me. I'm more of a viewer.
Me too. And when I do post something, I sometimes feel nervous.
Nervous? Why?
Well, I think things like, what if no one likes it? Or what if someone misunderstands my post?
Oh, that's such a real feeling. And that's another important part of talking about social media in English: expressing feelings.
Yes, you can say, I feel nervous about posting, or I feel anxious when I share my opinion online.
Or on the positive side, I feel excited when my post gets a lot of likes.
Likes are powerful. It's interesting how a small button can affect our mood.
So true. And in English, we often say, my post got a lot of likes, or my photo didn't get many likes.
You can also say it went viral when a post becomes very popular very quickly.
That's a great phrase. Go viral is very common. For example, her video went viral overnight.
And sometimes people say, I hope this goes viral when they post something.
Exactly. But not everything is about likes and popularity. Some people use social media mainly to stay in touch.
Yes, you can say, I use social media to keep in touch with my friends and family.
Or I stay connected with people from my hometown through social media.
That's especially true for people who live far away. Social media makes the distance feel smaller.
Definitely. Now let's talk about something a little more serious: opinions and discussions on social media.
Ah, yes, that can be tricky.
Very tricky. On social media, people often share their opinions about news, trends, or social issues.
And sometimes those opinions can lead to arguments.
Exactly. So it's useful to know how to express your opinion politely in English.
For example, you can say, in my opinion, social media has more positive effects than negative ones.
Or, I personally think social media can be distracting.
Those phrases are very soft and polite. They don't sound aggressive.
That's important. Another useful phrase is, I see your point, but I disagree.
That's a great one. It shows respect even if you don't agree.
And if you don't want to argue at all, you can say, I prefer not to discuss this online.
That's a very healthy boundary.
Speaking of boundaries, let's talk about privacy on social media.
Yes, privacy is a big topic. Many people say, I'm careful about what I share online.
Or, I keep my account private.
A private account means only people you approve can see your posts.
Exactly. And a public account means anyone can see your content.
I have a private account because I don't like sharing my personal life with strangers.
That's totally understandable. You could say, I don't feel comfortable sharing personal details online.
That's a very useful sentence for learners.
Another thing people talk about a lot is time management. Social media can be very time-consuming.
Oh, yes. People often say, I spend too much time on social media.
Or, I get distracted easily when I'm scrolling.
You can also say, I lose track of time.
That's a great phrase. I lose track of time when I watch short videos.
And then suddenly 1 hour is gone.
Exactly. So some people try to limit their usage.
They might say, I'm trying to cut down on social media.
Or, I set a time limit for myself.
These are very natural expressions, and they're useful not just for social media, but for many habits.
Now, Sam, let me ask you something. Do you think social media helps or hurts communication?
That's a big question. I think it does both. It helps us connect quickly, but it can also make conversations feel less deep.
That's a very balanced answer. You could say social media makes communication faster, but sometimes less personal.
Yes, exactly. And sometimes people misunderstand tone online.
That's true. Without facial expressions or voice, messages can sound rude or cold.
That's why emojis are so popular.
Yes, emojis help show emotion. You can say, I use emojis to sound more friendly.
Or, I add emojis so my message doesn't sound too serious.
Great examples. Emojis are almost like a new language.
They really are, but not everyone uses them the same way.
That's true. Some people love them, some people avoid them.
You could say, I'm not a big fan of emojis, or I use emojis all the time.
Perfect English. And this leads nicely into another topic, generational differences.
Yes, younger people often use social media differently than older people.
You might hear someone say, teenagers are very active on social media.
Or, older people prefer messaging apps to public platforms.
These are great observation sentences. They help you describe trends.
And that's something people love to talk about online, trends.
Absolutely. You can say, this trend is popular right now, or that trend is everywhere on social media.
Or, I don't really follow trends.
Very honest and very natural. So far, we've talked about habits, feelings, opinions, privacy, and time management on social media.
And all of these topics help learners talk about social media in a real, natural way.
Exactly. Not like a textbook, but like real life.
And that's the goal of English is My Life.
Real English for real conversations. Now, before we move on, I think it's important to talk about one more thing, comparison.
Comparing yourself to others on social media.
Yes, many people say I try not to compare myself to others online.
Or, social media sometimes makes me feel insecure.
Those are honest and powerful sentences.
And they're very useful for expressing deeper feelings.
Exactly. Social media is not just about apps, it's about emotions, habits, and relationships.
And learning how to talk about those things in English is a big step forward.
You know, Sam, after talking about comparison, I think this is the perfect moment to talk about something many people struggle with, but don't always say out loud.
Let me guess. Social media pressure.
Exactly. That feeling that you should post, should reply, should look interesting all the time.
Yes, that invisible pressure. People don't always talk about it, but almost everyone feels it at some point.
And for English learners, it's really useful to know how to express that feeling. For example, you can say, I feel pressure to be active on social media.
Or I feel like I need to reply quickly, even when I'm busy.
That's such a common one. Replying fast feels like a rule now.
Yeah, if you don't reply for hours, people start wondering if something is wrong.
Exactly. And then you might say, sorry for the late reply, which is a very polite and natural phrase.
Or, I didn't see your message earlier.
These are everyday sentences people use all the time.
And sometimes people feel tired of social media.
Oh, yes, that's another big topic. You might hear people say, I'm taking a break from social media.
Or, I deleted the app for a while.
That's a great phrase. For a while means for a short period of time, not forever.
Exactly. I actually did that once. I stopped using social media for 2 weeks.
Really? How did it feel?
At first, it felt strange. I kept reaching for my phone without thinking, but after a few days, I felt calmer.
That's interesting. So you could say, I realized I was checking my phone out of habit.
Yes, out of habit is a very useful phrase.
And then maybe taking a break helped me focus on real life.
Exactly. I spent more time reading, walking, and talking to people face to face.
Face to face, another great expression.
It reminds us that social media is just one part of life, not everything.
That's such an important message. And it's also something learners can talk about in English.
Yes, you can say, I try to balance my online life and my offline life.
Or, I don't want social media to control my time.
That sounds very mature.
Now let's talk about content, what people actually post.
Ah, yes, content is a big word on social media.
You can say, I post photos, videos, or short updates.
Or, I mostly share stories instead of posts.
Stories are very popular now. They disappear after 24 hours.
And people often say, I prefer stories because they feel more casual.
Casual means relaxed and not too serious.
Exactly, stories feel less permanent.
And then there's sharing opinions again. Some people love sharing their thoughts.
Others prefer to stay quiet.
You could say, I don't usually share my opinions online.
Or, I keep my opinions private.
Very clear and respectful.
And if someone disagrees with you online, that can be stressful.
Yes, you might say, I don't like online arguments.
Or, I avoid conflicts on social media.
Avoid conflicts is a very good phrase.
I think many people can relate to that.
Definitely. Now, Sam, let me ask you this. Do you think social media affects the way people speak English?
That's a great question. I think it does. Social media English is often shorter and more casual.
Yes, people use abbreviations like LOL, OMG, or BRB.
And emojis replace words sometimes.
Exactly, but that can be confusing for learners.
True. That's why it's important to know the difference between casual online English and more formal English.
You might say, I use casual English when I chat with friends.
And I use more formal English for emails or work.
That shows awareness, which is great.
Social media can also help learners practice English.
Absolutely. You can say, I follow English-speaking creators to improve my English.
Or, I read comments in English to learn new expressions.
That's a very smart way to learn.
You can even write comments in English.
Yes, like, I'm practicing my English. Thank you for this video.
That takes courage, but is very effective.
And mistakes are okay.
Always. You can say, I'm still learning. Please be patient.
That's a wonderful sentence.
Social media can be a learning tool if you use it mindfully.
Mindfully. That's a great word. It means with awareness and intention.
Exactly. Not just scrolling without thinking.
Now, before we wrap up, let's help listeners summarize what they can say about social media in English.
Good idea. They can talk about how often they use it,
They can talk about what they do on it,
how it makes them feel,
what they like or dislike about it.
and how they manage their time and privacy.
That's a lot of useful language.
And all of it comes from real life.
That's what we always aim for here on English is My Life.
Real English, real conversations.
So now it's time for our favorite part.
The question of the day.
Exactly. Today's question is, how do you usually use social media?
You can answer something simple like, I usually watch videos and chat with friends.
Or, I mostly use social media to relax in the evening.
Or even, I don't use social media very much.
All answers are welcome.
And writing your answer is great English practice.
Don't worry about being perfect, just be honest.
We love reading your comments.
And we really appreciate everyone who supports this channel.
And if you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe to English is My Life.
Your support helps us keep making these conversations for you.
And we'll be back soon with another real-life English topic.
Until then, keep practicing.
Keep learning.
And remember, English is not just a subject.
It's part of your life.
See you next time.
Bye, everyone.